The total time that God planned for Israel to come out of Egypt to the promised land was 2 years. So back when Joseph became second in command, he was put in second in command by Pharaoh. Joseph brought his family from a land. They brought his father Jacob, who is Israel, and his brothers, and they all lived in the land of Goshen in Egypt. They forgot about Joseph, and all of a sudden Egypt now has the Israelites as their slaves. But the plan was to bring them out of Egypt to the promised land in 2 years. Okay? So when we think about our lives, we don't need to take forever, our whole lifetime, to be delivered from Satan and sin. God's not on a forever plan. Okay? He wants to do things quickly in your life. God wants to bring you out of all that in a short period of time. Exodus chapter 1:13, the Egyptians made the children of Israel serve with rigor. They made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and brick, and all manner of service in the field. Deuteronomy 5:15, you were a slave in Egypt, and I redeemed you and brought you out. So I'm just reiterating here what I already said, but the children of Israel were slaves. They were in bondage to the Egyptians. And Christ, in John chapter 8:34, in red letters, he said, most assuredly I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin. So when we go from thinking about sin to actually committing the sin, right? There's a process. In your mind, it's in your mind, and you go from in your mind to, the next thing is coveting. This thing is growing, and you're not stopping it, and then pretty soon it what? Comes out, and you've committed it now. And Christ is saying if you commit that sin, you are a slave or under bondage to that sin. A slave does not abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. So Christ is saying, hey, your sin is going to make you a slave. And you're not going to be able to abide in my house, in my kingdom, forever, unless you what? Come to the Son. And the Son is going to what? Set you free. Not just so you can be in heaven forever, but He's going to set you free from sin now. Today, on earth, in your lifetime. It's important to remember, it's the Son who sets you free. It's not God's tools. Worship, prayer, and praise and fasting doesn't set you free. Who sets you free? Jesus sets you free. Now, we use what God has made. These tools, coming in, singing, worshiping, praying, fasting, putting His Word in us, that all is what God uses to bring you to who? Jesus Christ, who what? Sets you free. So it's important that all of what you're doing brings you to Christ. It's not what you're doing that saves you. It's Christ that saves you. Be careful that we do not give credit to ourselves. The credit goes to Christ. We do not cast out demons. Jesus does. We don't save people from their sin. Who does? Jesus does. Peter reminds us in chapter 2, verse 18, they allure through the lust of the flesh, through lewdness, while they promise them liberty, they themselves are slaves of corruption. For by whom a person is overcome, by him also he is brought into bondage. The world wants you to think and wants to promise you that this is freedom. When you go out in the world, it looks like freedom. You can go on the advertisement. The advertisements will come all over. Oh, this is freedom. We're having fun sinning. This is a great thing. Come on, just pay the money so we can get your money. Get addicted so we can really get your money. They don't care about you. They don't care about your life. They promise you freedom and fun, but you turn into a slave to sin. And God can help us overcome. We don't want to be in bondage. That's what this is talking about. Israel, they are enslaved. And we can be enslaved as Christians in our lives. They believed in God. They would pray to God. And we've got to believe and we've got to pray to God. But somewhere, we've got to get God to bring us out of that slavery.